Hello and welcome to the Evercade Retreat. Gene Jarrett here, and today I'm adding Jim Power and the Lost Dimension from the Pico Collection 1 to my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever. Originally released in 1993 for the Super Nintendo, it was an adaptation or a port, conversion or whatever you want to call it of an Amiga and Atari ST game. It's had a graphical overhaul from that and possibly some other changes I'm not really fully aware of as I've never played that version. It's predominantly a run and gun platformer and takes some cues from Contra, but does have a variety of game modes. The first level is very much a straightforward platforming run and gun, but there are shoot 'em up levels as well as levels which make use of if they're a top down or overhead view that make use of your mode 7 type effects, much like Contra did. Anyway, let's start breaking this down. So on the graphics front, things are generally quite impressive, or at least they are at first glance. That's not to say there's bad graphics in here or there's bad animation, but the parallax scrolling is, yeah, it's a thing. They went for some kind of 3D effect and it's pretty eye straining. I mean, other than that, things do generally look good. Bright, colourful, bold graphics, and there's nothing really to complain about on the visuals aside from that horrid parallax scrolling. But as that's one of the first things you notice, it definitely leaves a negative impression. On the audio front, the sound effects are fine, nothing really wrong there at all, and you have an amazing Chris Hulsbeck soundtrack. So yeah, the music is almost certainly the strongest aspect of this game, which probably doesn't sound too promising for the gameplay. And that's largely an exercise in frustration. It's a run and gun with one-hit deaths, and enemies come charging onto the screen so fast you often die before you know what's going on. And everything seems to run a bit too fast. Simply adding some hit points or slowing things down ever so slightly would probably go a long way. As it is, you find yourself edging forward and the game never really gets a good flow. And as a result, the game feels very tough right from the get-go, which is bound to put people off when they first start playing it. The overhead sections aren't particularly engaging and can be quite tough. The shoot 'em up sections, well, they're not great shoot 'em ups, so yeah, nothing in this game really comes together as well as you might hope. The game as a whole is like a patchwork of other better games, and great music and decent graphics aren't enough to really cut the mustard and make it rise above being an ambitious but deeply flawed game. The thing is, there are better versions of this game out there, and it's a shame that they chose to include this one and not one of those. The Mega Drive version, if I recall correctly, gives you a couple of hit points allowing you to go a bit further before you die. I hear the NES port, which was developed more recently, is much better, and as I mentioned, I've never even played the Amiga and Atari ST original versions. It's not a great game, but it's perhaps worth checking out if you have the tolerance for it. As for any personal history I have with the game, I was aware of it back in the day on the Amiga and what have you. I remember seeing it in magazines, but I never played it, but I thought it looked like it'd be quite interesting. To place it on my overall ranking list, above the Sword of Sedan, but below Earthworm Jim. And in some ways I want to put it higher. Maybe it's because of the music, maybe it's because it's the sort of game that I would genuinely like, but it really doesn't come together very well. Anyway, I think that wraps it up for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.